Hey, welcome back today. How are you? I am very grateful you are here to enter into this magical, juicy conversation with Kim Sales and I. And Kim is launching her Sacred Soul Symbols certification in January. She's been working at level 3 Synergy, and she and I have been connected now for years. And she's a creatively fit coach, and we just share such a passion for working with symbols. And we're really excited to unpack this for you today and invite you into a new relationship with the visual world and to kind of peel back the veil a little bit to recognize new ways that you're being supported. So, Kim, you picked a card for us today.
I
Let's
did,
start there.
right? One of the many juicy ways you can start that conversation with the universe, right? So let me put my little glasses on here because you just can't make this up, right? This was so great. I'm like, what does everyone need to hear on this summit? And this is the card. So I'll show you the deck first. It's the Archetypes Guidebook. It's the Wild Unknown Archetypes. And the card I pulled is Animundi. I'm just going to hold it up so you can see it and see all those juicy symbols, right? Look at that. Beautiful.
Pretty.
All right, so let's dig into the first meaning of this beautiful symbol for our group. Animundi epitomizes the principle, accept all, reject none. Simply put, it is the living soul of the world in all its multifaceted, multi-dimensional layers, bonded together by loving cosmic forces. Diversity is celebrated, multiplicity is honored, and nothing is denied embrace. Boom.
Beautiful. Boom.
Right? It is just magical. So that really talks to and speaks to all of the amazing symbols and everything that's available to you if you just start that active conversation with your inner knowing in the universe, right?
Yeah. And what stuck out to me in that summary is the accept all, reject none,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
as an entrepreneur, we are privy to all of the experiences of being in business. It's not like we're just one department, right?
Yeah.
and,
Right.
and things don't usually go as planned, you
No,
know,
they don't.
on a
Right.
bull's eye view. You are constantly being invited to align with perhaps a higher path for your business than you originally intended, right? Like it
Yeah.
could get even better. And sometimes the dead ends or the lackluster results are leading us to something even better. I don't know. That's what's coming to mind. The challenges of being an entrepreneur.
Well,
Um,
yeah, and the challenges of making that decision, taking that first step, right? Like I've done this as a woman who is fully mature later in life, and I'm embracing the entrepreneurship and the love that I've always had for sacred soul symbols, right? I started out in my life being, a child that was neurodivergent and having dyslexia and having to live in a world that really I only communicated through drawing and symbols with my parents. That's where I got the praise, right? That's where I felt comfortable. It was my safety net. It was my life preserver, right? And then as you start to get into the more of that left brain male thinking, you get into that, okay, this is what I have to do to make money. This is how it's going to work. So even though I followed my dream and I did go to art school, kind of fast forward, I worked corporate for many, many years. But then the lackluster started. It started to feel too contrived, too design on command. And there's nothing wrong with what I did, or I'm not at all saying I didn't enjoy it and love it. It's a path I had to go down, and it's helped me embrace even more of what I love and say, right, this is good, but I can do better. And I should have, I want to listen to all those things that the universe has been telling me, right? Instead of the external information really, bombarding me with the old paradigm of, you can't make money being an artist or doing any of that. I have to embrace the fact that, yeah, these symbols are here. They're here to guide me. They've always been there.
yeah.
Now it's time to really reconnect with them, right? So that's what this journey of sacred soul symbols has been for me. And developing this certification has just awakened. It's a remembering, right? It's
Mm.
just connecting with the universe and your feminine side of how you allow that information to come through. It's just that yummy intersection of love and embracing, what's really all important about yourself. What it's your heart-centered journey, right? It's your heart-centered language.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I'm
Mm.
thinking of the triple spiral symbol.
Oh, yeah.
I'll post an image in the PDF below. Um, I better make a note. But one of the things that I've said for years is that creativity, the feminine, and the earth are in relationship, and they've
Mm,
all been swept under the rug. They've all been abused. They've all been,
yeah,
diminished in importance and significance. And I believe as one rises, the other does, right? Like whether
right.
you're passionate about the environment, women's rights, or awakening creativity within others, they're all connected. And when you look at the symbols reflected in nature for us,
Mm,
working
yes,
with the earth elements, working with symbols that symbolize the elements, a lot of them are derived from that sacred geometry, of
right.
course, we both love. I know
Mhm.
Kim's Metatron's cube pendant,
Yes, love it.
pure
Yeah.
magic. Sacred geometry is reflected in the mathematical equations that describe how branches grow off a tree, or the spiral in the middle of a sunflower, or a succulent. We've all seen
Mm,
those images, as
the
well as
spiral of DNA.
exactly.
Yeah.
And the symbols have been carved in temple walls from thousands of years ago. And it's like, I've always felt like if the divine was going to leave breadcrumbs to
Mm,
help us remember, the
right.
truth of who we are, that everything is energy, that there is a oneness, that there is an infinite nature, that everything is conscious, which I think is a lot of what that Anima Mundi also describes.
Mm.
You would leave those breadcrumbs as symbols because they don't need any translation.
Right. They're the archetypes of your soul, essentially. And if you're wondering like archetypes, it's a big word. Well, archetype is essentially just something that we've assigned meaning to throughout the ages. Think, like you say, the Greek goddesses, the Mayans, the Mayan light, all the symbolic languages, right? Those are archetypal symbols. And anything that you hold dear, like even today, you can think of emojis, right? We are creating a new symbolic language with technology that is the emoji, right? People are speaking in emojis, which I find fascinating and sometimes a little terrified, depending upon which one they use. But it's there. It's something that's in our human nature. It's in our being. It's in our DNA, like you say, that symbolic language and something pulling that meaning and assigning it to something that's uniquely yours and your inner knowing is a way to start your dialect, your inner language. And then the Sacred Soul Symbols certification, I take you through 5 pathways. And those pathways really start to help you remember your past, present, and future, your mind, body, and spirit, what has been in your basically your mirror and your rear view mirror and your mirror moving forward, right? All the symbols to help you remember them. It's not about me making them up, it's about you remembering you and what makes you sing. So we're going to look at that, and I take you through a pathway of 5 different archetypal symbols that you can use to really as a remembering tool, right? Yes, you can paint those symbols, but really it's more about what they will evoke in you and what will come out through you as you work with them.
Right. So imagine that since you were a child, you've
Mm,
had kind of a pantheon of symbols that are in you, that are resonant with you, their colors, their animals, their designs that you've always been attracted to. These are mirroring back for you aspects of your superpowers. Like their symbols are there to kind of bring to life your purpose, your greater alignment, your greater authentic expression. An example that's coming to mind is when I uh, received the name Freya and changed my name to Whitney Freya. I was doing some research on Freya, and 2 of her plants that are symbols of her. So
mm,
plants are symbols. I invite people to think of either a flower or a plant that you've always loved, or one that just grows really well, in your yard or garden, and look up the symbolism of that. That
mhm,
is going to provide you with some information. But 2 of Freya's symbols, plant symbols, are the wild strawberry and the lily of the valley. And
mm.
the bedroom I grew up in was strawberry wallpaper. Like strawberry was my kind of my symbol, just because it's, way back my mom got something strawberry when I was, just moving into my big girl bed kind of thing. And it's
Right.
for better or for worse. I wanted like modern and blue, but I had strawberries. And lily of the valley every year, every spring, when the neighbors lily of the valley like ground cover patch bloomed, my mom and I went over there and picked bouquets of lily of the valley. And so what if these symbols were very intentionally planted in your field to kind of prepare, to remind you, to bring out aspects of you that might not have been stimulated otherwise? And
Mm,
so, what Kim and I are both passionate about doing is kind of flipping that switch, like turning
yeah.
back on this perception that is symbolic. Because the linear logical, again, is covered in our rational mind, our logical way of thinking, the part of us that's responsible for past future, which is fabulous because we learn from our past and, we take that into our future, we prepare for things. And then the present moment where we can access the anima mundi, that oneness, that
Mm,
collective consciousness, the wisdom that in the moment can provide you with exactly the right next step for your business, or the aha, the breakthrough that happens in the present moment. And they've found, even in neuroscience, that the more you get in your right brain first, the easier you have to come up with that stroke of insight, that aha, because the gamma
mhm,
brain waves that result are your entire neocortex. So if you're just trying to figure it out with the list,
mm.
right, you're only accessing a small part of what's available to you. So when you engage with these symbols, it expands your problem solving ability to your entire mind. And in that moment, you can have the stroke of insight or aha. So that's why things like pulling a card, working with symbols, the creative
Mm.
process is such a powerful tool for entrepreneurs. And it's fun. It
And it's
feels
fun. Yeah.
magical.
Absolutely, and then too, you start to develop this lexicon of symbols that has special meaning for you, right? And you can look up meaning, there's loads of different things out in the web, right, where you can look at the meaning of something, but the juicy stuff that makes the most impactful is what that meaning holds for you. Like you brought up lilies, right? That's something that's been in your plane, in your field, in your vision, your whole life, right? For me, it's water and turtles and fish and growing up on the river, and these have always been archetypal symbols for me, and they always hold importance for me, and I know in the future they will be in my life. So I like to refer to them in my course as fire symbols, right? These are the symbols that are burnt, that are branded on your soul, right? They're really there to help you. They can be in your past, in your mind, right? In your present, and in your future, right? What do these things hold for you? How can you carry that information through all these different pathways and then remember them and have them there as for support and guidance, right? Now when I see a turtle, I know, okay, right, it's time to take my time. It's time to kind of go within. I've got my house on my back, right? I need to have a little me time. I need to just slow down and take, just take some time for me and really assess a situation or any kind of opportunity and let that guidance come down to me instead of forcing it. Like, I'm going to make a list of how I'm going to solve this. And now I'm just going to be like, okay, universe, I'm feeling the need for some guidance. This ask them a question. It's as simple as that. And if you're listening and you're following your intuition and your heart-led language, then you will completely receive what you need. It's available to all of us. That's the cool thing about this.
Mhm.
It's like not something just one person has. I mean, everyone has it. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
So
just
how
tap it
has the
in.
water element as a symbol supported you?
So the water element, well, it's a symbol of emotions, right? And it's the symbol of flow. And it also totally is absolutely representational of playing with paint and actually doing the creativity part of it too. So water for me is essentially about the journey, right? It's about the journey of your life. So as a child, I always was in the water. I love to swim. I love to play in the water. I was dealing with a lot of emotions at that time too, so it was kind of like a space I could go and feel really good. I was really great at water sports and all of that, and I enjoyed it, and so it was my happy place, right? So being there, I felt buoyed, I was buoyant,
Mm,
right? And I talk about creativity as my life preserver, well, so was water. It's this buoying natural earth element that when you're surrounded by it, you are essentially enveloped by the earth and the earth energy and all that grounding goodness, right? So you immediately start to sink into a feeling of, it's like taking a warm bubble bath, right? I still get that feeling in the middle of winter when I can't go swimming and I can just hop in the bath and pour a nice loving bubble bath. It just surrounds me and hugs me, right?
Right.
So I've taken that from childhood as a sport and enjoying that, and I've taken it into my bubble baths. I use water as emotion. We're born in water as children in the mother's womb, right? It's a very feminine pull. The moon rules the water with all of the tides and everything and your cycles. So it is a deep, deep relationship that I think all women have on that level. But for me, it's really been that buoying, that warm embrace of the earth, right? And that feminine vibe.
Right. And when you learn these symbols, like even just starting with the elements, right?
Yeah.
It awakens different understanding. I remember when I was in the training with Lisa Nichols, and there were a lot of women entrepreneurs there that were like still working the full-time job, raising the family, staying up till 3 a.m. to work on their own business. And that scared me to death because I am such a balance girl. Like I cannot be a workaholic. It's not
Yeah.
in my bones. And somehow connected to that was this emphasis on, the numbers and finances and planning, projecting and, the next quarter, terms like that, that just really didn't resonate me. And I remember I can still picture being in my kitchen in my other house and realizing that I kept track of finances more like the water. Like I understood
Mm,
the ebb and flow, and I could like sense when I was going to need, to like fill up the reservoir or,
mm,
call in the next tide,
right.
or when things were going out to start focusing on an offering that specifically asked for money because I was going to need that next wave, that next infusion. And that like it's such an abstract concept, for some people to say, oh, I manage finances like water.
Yeah,
Right?
it's like,
Like,
what?
okay, well, what exactly are you talking about? But for me, it helps me understand how I do business, how I
Mm,
manage the financial aspect of being human on earth right now. And it made me feel capable, right? Like the
mhm,
ocean is a
yeah.
big energy. And if I manage money like that, I'm okay. So I switched from comparing myself to how other people do it and feeling less than because I didn't feel like I had that kind of business structure in me. And I realized I have this whole other structure, and it was so resonant.
Mm,
So this is a thing that symbols offer as well. One, they appear to you in a way that meets you where you are,
mhm,
right? And then they activate a very authentic part of you, right? There is only resonance with symbols. Like the only communication is like through that resonance. So like when I work with a symbol, I use the owl as an example all the time because owl is my main animal totem. And sometimes owl is like this fierce huntress, and sometimes she's the purple sparkly Christmas tree topper kind of vibe, right? And
right.
reminding me of the different aspects of me. And I remember a meditation where I go to meditate on owl, I think inspired by a picture someone sent me of a purple sparkly Christmas tree topper. And owl was like swooped in like this huntress. And she's like, okay, Whitney, you can be a purple sparkly Christmas tree topper version, and you can also be a fierce huntress, and it's that fierce huntress that has the strength to pursue what she wants and what she needs for her survival kind of thing. And I mean, it's just so rich because these symbols are speaking to you on this level that only recognizes resonance as opposed to the logical mind that tries to make something fit when you feel like it doesn't fit, but the logical mind's like, okay, let's make this balance out, right? Whereas symbols, you feel it. It's a feeling that's an instant affirmation. No, I love it so much.
And the wise woman, right? The wise old owl.
Yeah,
Being able to see in the dark sometimes. You can see things other people can't.
yeah.
Very claircognizant.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Yes. This is my Claire, the Claire cognizant. And Kim and I are both passionate about dragonflies. So yeah, share the dragonfly medicine.
All right, excuse me, I'm having a little
A coffee. You
coughing
want me
thing
to
here
start
going on.
with dragonfly?
You can start with Dragonfly and I'll bring her home.
Okay. So I received dragonfly as a symbol for 2023. So this is the perfect time in November to open up to receiving a symbol or two for your 2024. So I normally, the way it just seems to happen every year is I have like an animal symbol and a more symbol. So 2023 for me was the dragonfly and the chalice. But the dragonfly is an incredibly transformational symbol, as well as my favorite part is they're moving between the elements, the water, which is the emotion. Yes, Kim is queen of dragonflies, and air, which is the mental realm. And air is a masculine uh, earth element, and water is a feminine. And so it's this beautiful bridge and balance, and completely founded on this lightness of being, right? And so I use dragonfly throughout the year if I'm feeling off my game or frustrated or, you know, that feeling, right? Whether it's apathy or like, oh my God, how am I going to make this happen? Whatever. A really great thing that I often choose to do is to just sit, close my eyes, and bring dragonfly or the chalice into my mind's eye. And in that moment, as soon as I do, it's like I get exactly what I need. And it takes you out of that left brain, rational, logical side, just to invite in the balance. So again, this is all about balance, which of course the dragonfly is also. So opening up for a symbol, the way you do that is you just like, you could say right now out loud, like, okay, I want a symbol for 2024, bring it.
Right.
And in the next 24, 48 hours, just pay attention to what crosses your path unusually. Like an animal can appear out of nowhere. Like you could see a fox walking across the street, and maybe you've never seen a fox in your neighborhood before. Well, I would get curious if fox is a symbol for you. Or it's just something you really are resonating with. Like I've been super
Mm.
attracted to lotus flowers lately. Um, just feeling like, oh, I just want to draw them and paint them. And so maybe I'm being invited to work with lotus flower in 2020.
Mm.
I don't know.
Yes, absolutely. And another thing about the dragonfly, you're saying you wanted to go change direction. One of the attributes of the dragonfly is they can fly upside down, sideways. I mean, they're super agile, right? So agility is one of those things that it's one of those lovely things that the dragonfly working with it will remind you of, right? Okay, I can just change directions. And I love the fact that their wings are magical and transparent, right? So let's see through, let's go through and go deeper and get to that transparent, authentic part of you that's resonating with whatever opportunity it is you may be dealing with, right? Whatever question you have, just kind of look to that dragonfly for some of that influence and some of that dragonfly fairy dust, right?
I love that
Um,
you just mentioned that about their wings, because it
mm,
immediately made me think like, yeah, just because things aren't visible to the naked eye doesn't mean they
right,
don't exist, right? Um,
exactly. Yeah.
but that would be an example of like, I guess I needed, or wanted that awareness will serve me right now. And that's why that was given to me through Dragonfly.
And I think another symbol that I've worked with, and I know you've worked with in the past as well, Whitney, is the whale, right?
Mm.
And so I gave this an example because it's one of those things that when I ask for information, I get it. Like I woke up after I'd asked the universe, okay, what do people need to hear right now? What would they like to work with, as far as me developing a course? So I had this vivid dream of a whale, a humpback whale. And I'm like, all right, so it's a whale. I'm actually swimming with the whale and talking to the whale
Nice.
underwater. I can breathe and do all the things the way I was like fascinatingly a lovely dream. But once I had that dream, not only did I dream that, like whales, every time I picked up my phone, there's a whale. Every time I looked on the TV, there was a whale. I drive by billboards, there's a whale. I'm like, I gotcha. I'm making it about a whale. It's like, okay, sometimes it's like really like, okay, this is what you're gonna do. You asked, here it is. So then you have to acknowledge, right? So once you ask for it, make sure you acknowledge it. Say, okay, I've got the message. I'm going to go ahead, and then you can ask for more guidance for whatever you need to do. So I went ahead and I created the Wisdom of Whale song, and it's all about what you're sending out into the deep and what your voice, how it resonates, and how frequency of your voice and the words and how words have meaning. And that's what resonated with me about the whale too, is they sing songs and they teach their young songs. I mean, how magical is that, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's like, what are you teaching? What are you leaving behind? What's your voice saying? So
Mm,
that's another symbol. That's how that came about and how rich and important it was for me and how I just really kind of studied whales and um, resonated with the meaning that had held the most magic for me, which was their song, right?
that's beautiful. It's funny because for me, so whale is the animal totem in the peace chapter in Rise
Mm,
Above.
yeah.
And it's because for me it was whales clearly live in the water element. The water element is the element of emotions, like Kim's already mentioned, and I just could feel, so this was like
Mm,
this clear sentient thing I had with
yeah.
whales, is it's like I could feel a whale moving through the water, right?
Mm,
Like no matter how turbulent the waves, the whale's just like,
yeah.
I
Just
am. I am consistent.
powerful.
Like none of these turbulent waters are affecting me. And oh, that gives me such a sense of peace. So, like, if I'm feeling anxious or at all unpeaceful, bringing whale to mind just bathes me personally in this energy of just like, I've
Mm.
got this, And so, those are two very different messages.
Interpretations. Yeah.
Yeah.
And both, and that's what I mean by discovering what that archetypal symbol or your soul symbol means to you, right? It's what's important to you. Both of them are beautiful, right? And now I can draw from yours because I love that as well, right? But the thing is, it's what resonates with your inner heart, right? Your heart language. So
Yeah.
then you can, in the course, you'll delve deeper into that and we'll write things down. So you're not only painting and creating, but you're writing down the deep messages to yourself and to your soul that you can review and look back on and have, right?
Yeah. So when you work with symbols, I just want to mention this, working with symbols, it can be if you're already thinking like, oh yeah, I've been seeing lotus flowers everywhere. Or for me, it's snakes or rabbits or, whatever. Um, Literally the first step can be Googling
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
symbolic meaning of, and then you could journal on it. You could print out a picture. You could put it as a screenshot. You could draw it on a post-it note. I've done that before and stuck the
Mhm.
post-it notes around. You could paint it. But it's like getting to know the symbol, engaging with it visually so that your mind is processing, kind of opening up to receive the message. So,
Yeah, it's a full
um,
somatic experience, right? It's like you're talking about it, you're thinking of it, you're actually working with it, whether you're creating with it or you're writing about it, whatever it is that speaks to you creatively, right? You're kind of pulling that in and embodying that symbol
mhm,
and
absolutely.
understanding what its deep meaning is. I just love that. I mean, it's just such rich goodness for all of us, right?
So, explain to everybody what they're going to enjoy in your 3-part video workshop. That's your free gift.
Oh, right. Well, we've already talked about water because that's my jam, baby. So in the three-part gift, what it is a three video workshop on the symbols, the healing power of water symbols. So you're going to explore the meander symbol in the first video, and then you're going to, yeah, exactly the meander symbol.
Exciting. Hmm.
And we've got we're gonna, oh gosh, the second one. I'm like, all right, you just asked me what they were, and it's been a while since I reviewed it.
Right.
Yeah.
There's the spiral.
Yeah. Thank you. So we've got the spiral, the spiraling water, and then we also had the lotus symbol at the end. So thank you, Whitney. You reminded me of what those are. But
Yeah.
what's so fun about them is we created these videos together and along the way, right, as far as discussing what the power of them are, how they can impact your life, and how you can use them, right? And
Mhm.
how they connect you with nature. So I take you on a nature walk. You're going to see a video that goes with it. It's just a lot of magic about how water is in your life and how you can look to it for some answers and guidance and that lovely grounding and healing emotional state that, is just so fun, like being hugged by a nice warm bubble bath too.
Beautiful. I love that. Okay, randomly, not randomly, I'm reminded of, and it's funny because you're in Minneapolis. I was in Minneapolis years ago. I don't even remember, 2012, 11, I don't know. Anyway, I was having coffee with Cindy Dale. Cindy's the author of like so many books, the
Mm,
of chakras, encyclopedia of energy work. woman is prolific. And we were talking about symbols. And she mentioned how she works with the spiral symbol often with people. If she has a client that is kind of stuck in a pattern, she will put a symbol in their field to start stirring things up and encourage movement.
I
So,
love it.
so much fun, so many ways to work with these symbols. So yes,
It
please do.
is. It's just so delightful. And when you said that, it reminded me of like the symbol, when you think about the symbol and you can just see it like, moving in and out, right? So it's a living thing. It's not just a stagnant. Think of a swirling pool of water, right? You can curate your energy, right? You can expand it. You can bring in all the goodness that you want to receive. And you can also send out some of the information that you no longer serves you, right? So think of it as a curated um, ability to work with these symbols too, right? You're having a conversation with the universe, and these archetypal symbols just help you along the way, right? They're sort of like your billboard or your gateway, right? But what it really does is bring you into a deeper understanding about what's important to you, and then you'll receive more. The more you do it, like the more you practice with it, the more you work with the symbols, the more and the easier this becomes. Like I know people mention triggers as far as a negative situation, but you can actually have a trigger that's very positive. Like when I take 3 deep breaths, that is my trigger to drop in. And I can actually feel the energy. I get all tingly and I can feel it. It's like, okay, now I can start. Now I can light my candle. I'm going to start painting, set the atmosphere, do all the triggers that to me symbolize, okay, I'm going to have this really yummy, juicy experience either with painting or I'm going to light a candle and take a bath, whatever that is. All those yummy symbolic triggers can be so positive and so helpful. So if you're having a bad day at work and say people are spiraling out of control, just take that spiral, right? Which I've been in a lot of meetings like that in corporate. So I would just take that symbol and just think, okay, let's calm it down. Let's bring those waves into a nice, easy, like gentle movement and just kind of modulate your energy. And then that also then expands out into the room. When you calm down, it has an effect, right? Your calming nature can calm down, your energy can influence the room. You have the ability to change that frequency too with the spiral. So I just love that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Symbols is energy work.
Yeah,
Everything's energy.
everything's energy.
Your energy, your business's energy, what's wanting to come through you is energy, and it's knocking at your door, and often through this symbolic language. So thank you for being here to open up to this language of sacred soul symbols. And I know you will love Kim's workshop. So absolutely be sure and take advantage of our free gift. Thank you so much, Kim.
Thank you so much for having me. Mwah. And thank you everyone for listening and being here. Such exciting work.
So fun. So fun. All right. We will see you really soon. Thank you for being here at the Women's Synergy Summit. Bye.